Call the Conservation Commission Inland Wetlands Agency regular meeting to order June 13, 2024, 6:30. Roll call, please. Here.
Tom Murphy. Here. Ned Dalton here. Joe Coletta is here. Stepped out.
Yeah.
Luigi Cavallo.
Here.
Ed Norton.
Yep.
Mike Jed.
Here.
Charles Bellavo.
3 public hearing. Ned, could you read the ground rules and the legal notice?
For the first application, there is no legal notice.
The ground rules, right?
Yeah. Ground rules, Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency, excuse me. 1, the applicant or his or her representative will make his or her formal presentation to the Commission stating the proposed regulated activities, the wetland impacts, and the alternatives which were considered by the applicant. 2, all comments, discussion, and observation shall be made through the chairperson after proper recognition by the chairperson. This is necessary to ensure that only one person at a time speaks on any issue, thus making it easier for everyone to understand and for clear legal transcription. 3, all persons addressing the Commission shall begin by first clearly stating their name and address for the record. If necessary, the person may be asked to spell his or her name for the record. 4, following the presentation of the application, the Conservation Commission Inland Wetlands Agency will ask specific questions of the applicant. 5, after the Commission has asked its questions of the applicant, the chairman shall then allow any members of the public who wish to speak either in favor of this application or against it to address the Commission. 6, the chairman shall then allow the applicant to respond to the comments of the members of the general public. 7, chairman shall then allow any members of the general public who wish to present any additional information or clarifying discussion to do so. 8, the chairman shall then provide an opportunity for the applicant to respond to these additional remarks if he or she or his or her representative so wishes. 9, the Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency has 35 days from the date that the public hearing commences to complete the public hearing. The Commission may ask the applicant for a 35-day extension of the public hearing period if the Commission requires an additional information or wishes to schedule a site walk to observe the situation for themselves. The Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency has 35 days from the date when the public hearing is closed to render its decision.
Thank you, Ned. A continuation of the public hearing from May 9th, 2024 for the application 2024-7 of Newport Realty Group, LLC for construction of Turnberry Estates, a 34-unit active adult community on 24.6-acre parcel to be located on Pondview Drive, Watertown.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Commission and staff. Franklin Pelosi and Andy Quirk on behalf of the applicant. One preliminary matter. Andy has just a couple of things to comment on that have additional minor points brought up by the Public Works Director, Town Engineer, since the last public hearing session. But one issue that's still pending is the request for a third-party review, which the applicant consented to. But in view of the fact that that doesn't seem to be getting off the ground, the applicant still hasn't received a proposal, so that isn't even in the works yet. We would ask the Commission to consider waiving that or rescinding its vote to require it. It was pretty clear at the last public hearing session that the staff is comfortable that all of the requirements for this application, particularly with respect to drainage and holding back drainage and so forth, have been met and more than adequately will address the existing conditions. We would ask that, again, that you consider waiving that because we have, again, there's no proposal received yet, and we're just running another month. But with that, I'll turn it over to Andy. He's going to talk just a couple of additional points between Andy and the town engineer.
Good evening, Andrew Quirk, professional engineer and principal with Kratzer Jones and Associates. Before I get into the comments, just to add a little bit more detail to the information that was presented. After the last meeting, when we received the request for the third-party review, we did immediately consult with town staff, and they did, Mr. Raffi did work quickly on it to come up with a name that was not a conflict of interest. We agreed, and I just want to make it clear that town staff worked very quickly to seek a proposal. Literally the next day, we had a name and an email and a request for it. But it has been a month, and we have yet to receive a proposal from that company. The correspondence in the interim indicated that they would not be able to have that review completed in time for this meeting. That happened about a week and a half ago, approximately, maybe about a week and a half ago. And but then they indicated they would be able to try to do something in the future for a future meeting, which we don't have an extension for that as of right now. But since that week and a half, there still has not been a proposal received. So I just wanted to add that information in terms of the timeline, and that we have been continuing to work very closely with town staff, and they have with us. In my professional opinion, I mean, this is unprecedented. I've never seen this where there hasn't been any action even to get a proposal within that time period. But that being said, we did receive, and I believe you should have, I'm assuming in your package, but I do have a copy as well, 3 very, I would consider minor, almost housekeeping comments dated May 28th from your town engineer. They're all very good comments, and just minor details in terms of the connections of the roof leaders. There were a couple roof leaders that were not connecting to the storm drainage system, and the request was to make modifications that they are connected rather than overland, and we agreed to do so. I do have the email response indicating we would be able to address those. And then in the area of stormwater basin, the 2, which is the northerly stormwater basin, to add some riprap protection to where the intermittent water course comes in, which of course is fine, and that is has been added to the plans. I don't know if the response was part of the package, but I can submit that. And I'm assuming you have the comments. Do you have the comments?
Yes.
Yes. Do you have the response as well? If not, I'll submit just.
No, we have the comments.
The email response. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Just in my professional opinion, I mean, we've just in summary, we've continued to work closely with town staff. I believe we've addressed all the comments that the town has. It's been thoroughly reviewed. We went above and beyond in terms of the model to go with a model that addresses comments regarding the coverage, the soil types, groundwater. We've revised the stormwater system to take in a lot of stormwater that's not even associated with this project, but upland stormwater to help with any potential downstream impacts. We've demonstrated that this project not only will control for zero increase in runoff for the project, but will also have a positive beneficial impact downstream by controlling water today from offsite that is uncontrolled going downstream. We will be controlling that, managing it for stormwater quantity and quality, and making improvements there. And really feel that we've done everything to address all the comments. We've tried to work very closely with town staff. An extension was granted at the last meeting to get us to this point in terms of the public hearing extension. There is a hearing scheduled in August for planning and zoning. We're at the extent of the current extensions right now for this project here, and just asking, as Attorney Pillacy noted, whether the third-party review can be either rescinded or addressed in that way, since we've addressed everything that the staff and the thorough review has required. The other additional thing is a project of this size. You may be familiar with the DEP construction permit requirements, but a project over 5 acres requires, in addition, going to DEP for a construction stormwater permit. Once it's over 10 acres, they require a third-party review. So this project will have a third-party review as part of that process because of the acreage of the project. And then that requires inspections that we do, and we provide those reports as we discussed at the last public hearing during construction that are copied to the town. So there's been several layers of review. We think we've addressed everything. I guess at this point, we'll turn it back to the commission, try to answer any other questions, and see how the application proceeds. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, there's also a letter in the packet that they submitted in this regard, if you want to read it into the record. That,
I don't know if it needs to be or not, does it?
I'm sorry?
I don't know if it needs to be or not.
It's up to you. I mean, it's,
I guess as a secretary, you could read that in, please.
June 5th, 2024, Conservation Commission, Inland Wetland Agency, 61 Echo Lake Road, Watertown, Connecticut, 06795, regarding application number 2024-7, Turnberry Estates, Pondview Drive, Watertown, Connecticut. Dear Conservation Commission, Inland Wetland Agency. At the May 9th, 2024 Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency hearing, it was suggested by the Commission that the independent third-party review of the development's drainage plan be performed, and we, the applicant, agreed. Additionally, it was assumed by all parties this review and its results would be available in ample time prior to the June 13th, 2024 Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency hearing. Our engineer and town staff immediately worked to arrange this review. It was not until May 30th that the firm indicated that due to other engagements, they were not able to complete their review in time for the June 13th, 2024 hearing. In fact, the applicant has not received a proposal from this firm. At this time, additional firms were contacted, but they would not be able to complete the task with such short notice. Subsequently, the original firm did, however, commit that they would be able to complete the review and report on July 10th, 2024, 3 days prior to the next Conservation Commission hearing. We find this delay unacceptable as only a 35-day extension was granted, and the project engineer has clearly stated that he won't be available for the July hearing. And the planning and zoning hearing is scheduled to open in August concerning this development. Furthermore, the project team has fully addressed town staff comments, including the latest minor recommendations from the town engineer. As a reminder, the public hearing was opened at the April 11th, 2024 Conservation Commission hearing. A site walk occurred April 6, 2024, and the public hearing remains open. We believe the application is ready for action, and a third-party review will be required anyway as part of the Connecticut DEP requirements for a permit for construction activities for a site greater than 10 acres. If that is not satisfactory in the essence of time, the applicant would appreciate your consideration of the following suggestion. The applicant will formally engage with the identified firm that will perform the third-party review as soon as the proposal is received. Once the third-party review and report is received, the applicant would diligently work with town staff to address any open matters, if any, again. It was committed that the report will be delivered July 10th, 2024. At the June 13th, 2024 Conservation Commission hearing, the applicants respectfully request that the Commission closes the public hearing. Assuming the applicant and town staff address any open matters in advance of the July 11th, 2024 hearing. The applicant would respectfully request the Commission vote in the July 11th hearing concerning the application. What's the July 11th hearing?
the next meeting.
It said the 13th before.
Okay.
So
There's a type.
something's right.
Yeah.
So thank you in advance for consideration of our request. Sincerely, Mark Lovely, member, Newport Realty Group, LLC. Copy, Franklin Pillacy, Andrew Quirk, Tony Valenti.
And there are questions from the commission on this?
So,
Town staff?
Yeah, I have a question on this. So this is new to me about a site greater than 10 acres. We've held up projects before and required third-party reviews. And just in your professional opinion, if it was required anyway, why doesn't it start on initial application? Is there a time delay? Is there a benchmark that you have to hit in order to ask for a third-party review? Or can you start on it once you have your initial maps?
So I'm not sure I understand the question, but if it's related to the DEP application, you can't submit to the state until you have your local approval.
Okay, so a third-party review is required.
It is required.
Either way upon approval from the local commissions.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So yeah, and that change occurred, I don't know if it was 4 or 5 years ago. It used to be you had greater than 5 acres, you had to go to DEP for a permit for construction activities. And then they added, I believe it was about 4 or 5 years ago, that those projects greater than 10 acres also require the third-party review.
Okay.
That change was.
And the reason for that, I think, because DEP is short and stuff, they send it to a firm to review for them. Yes.
So they have, the DEP has their own firms to do a third-party review, is that correct?
No, you have to do a certification that it's an independent third-party review, but it's the responsibility of the applicant to hire and pay for another firm that then there's a certification that they're of an independent level review. And they submit a report of their findings, and then you work together to address those, and all that correspondence is sent to DEP for their review.
Okay.
That is required by DEP.
It's required by
Yes.
them, absolutely, yes.
Now, is that for a single house, or just doesn't make any difference?
So there's 2 thresholds. Once
Okay.
you have a disturbance greater than 5 acres, you have to get a DEP permit. It doesn't matter what the project is.
Okay.
If it's industrial, there's another permit, but if there's construction activity that has disturbance greater than 5 acres, you're required to get the DEP permit. As part of that permit, if it's greater than 10 acres, there's additional requirements. The third-party review, the inspection reports that are submitted to DEP in the town, there's additional requirements at that second threshold.
I thought there was, in the past, I thought that there was a 20-acre that automatically triggered a third-party review for any project, 20 acres.
I don't know if that's something with the Army Corps, but
Yeah, I
it's
don't remember where
a
it was from. I just
10-acre.
remember it being somewhere, something was
Yeah.
20
And you
acres,
said-
because it's been in
Yeah.
front of us before.
Yeah, the 10 acres has been for some time now, and we've had third-party reviews on projects in the past, and we've also done those third-party reviews for other projects.
And that's commercial too, or you don't know?
It's commercial and residential. The only thing is industrial has another, there's a whole set of additional
Okay.
industrial permits, but commercial, residential, doesn't matter the number of square feet of development, it's the disturbance, it's an erosion control disturbance factor, yeah.
So you gotta get the local permit first, then you,
Right, because one of the things is you have to fill in your local approvals, right? Right.
Okay. I just want to say, I recognize, I believe you said it was a 7 additional acres worth of capture that you were capturing
Correct.
runoff on in the
Yes.
changes that you made on the map last month, and that
That's
it
correct.
extended into the Highgate apartments last month?
Yes.
I did recognize that, and that's definitely
Thank you.
something that looks a lot better on the application.
Thank you.
So, can I ask you a question? So what I understand is, by reading this, that if the third-party review comes in later, you're willing to, if there is something wrong, or if you needed to do some additional work, you're willing to do it, correct?
As part of the DEP permit, we
Yeah.
would not secure that permit until those comments are addressed.
Right.
That's part of the
So-
process.
so
Yes,
in other
that's
words,
correct.
you're-
It has to be done.
Right, because
Yes.
we don't have it, and actually it's in the middle of the summer, and you want to get going. If there is some review from the third party, you will meet with staff and you will address it,
Right,
correct?
and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, you get copied on that correspondence as well. The town is,
Mr. Chairman, I think for the commission, you should decide first to see if you want to wait for that third-party review report, or you want to,
right, no, I was just trying to get an understanding of.
Yes.
Is he's a professional, not just so we
What is
on track, nothing to do with, I'm just sorry, I'm just asking you a question.
no,
My
it's fine.
personal,
I appreciate it, yeah.
What is the
Education, I guess.
application for? Is it for erosion control or is it for wetlands?
It's for construction activities and stormwater management.
If I'm not mistaken, I thought DEEP doesn't technically regulate wetlands, that's up to the towns.
no, it is land disturbance, that how much land you are going to disturb with the project, and then based
But are
on that,
they-
you have to send it to
Are
them.
they
yes.
gonna have our wetlands regulations in mind when they are doing these third party?
No, they're looking at different issues.
Different than-
Yes.
So that's,
We enforce our zone, our wetland regulations, and once you issue a permit, then they have to go to deep based on the size of the project, that how much land they're going to disturb.
So if I can just add to that, so your regulations refer to the erosion control manual from DEP and the stormwater quality manual from DEP. So those are the benchmarks that are used for the impact to the wetlands. The stormwater permit uses those same manuals as the standard. So although they're not saying that their standard is the town standard for wetlands, you're both referring to the same standards for impact to stormwater, that stormwater management has on the surrounding areas. So they will be looking at what is the quality of the runoff from the site? Is it treated? We have to do the 80% removal of total suspended solids. We have to address the floatables. We have to look at erosion controls. So all of the matting in the Stormwater Management Association with the outlet protection and all of those things that you would look at for your local wetland regulations, they're looking at it based on the state regulations.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's an apples-to-apples third-party review.
It is from the sense of the two standard manuals that you're both referring to.
Basically, we are looking on the adverse impact on the wetlands, and if their project, the way that they present it to you, it is like the wetlands are protected. And then they will look in another layer of that, but they're looking the same guidelines, the same standards, yes.
So basically, we're covered there.
But can we?
So did we Musa, are we see, I've never heard of this, do we see any of this information? Not that it has anything to do with here, but do we see this reports from DEP?
Yes, whenever, because that is the responsibility, that is the responsibility of the applicant to submit their application.
No, but we don't see,
We don't get it.
we don't get any.
No, they don't do that.
So basically, last meeting when we debated going to a third-party review, we wasted our time because it really is going to be done. So, I mean, we just sat here, debated, and everybody had a hard time making a decision. It wasn't unanimous.
It's a little, it's not.
So it had to get done anyway.
I think in this case, it is not the applicant's fault, because I called two firms, just for the record, I called Civil One. They were not available because they were very busy.
Right.
And then I called Land Tech Consultant, and they are the one who took this application, but they said that they are very busy. The gentleman who took the application, he promised me that he will give his report before the July meeting. But now for the commission, you should decide to see if you want to wait for that report, and the applicant is not looking for approval tonight anyway, they are asking for approval in July.
Right.
My recommendation will be to just keep the public hearing open in case like next week or in 2 weeks we receive that report and we give it to you, that you can respond to some of those comments that become a part of the record. If they close the public hearing tonight, then you cannot submit any additional information into the record. I mean, if you are not looking for approval tonight and you're waiting for July meeting, then I recommend that keep the public hearing open. It is beneficial for both parties, for you and also for the commission.
And then we could have the draft motion ready for that. We could close the public hearing in July, approve it.
If they don't have
The end is the same. The
We
result's the
can get it
same.
on
yes.
record.
Right, so you're not gonna waste any time.
Yeah.
Right, it's not gonna get extended to,
Well, why
Sure.
can we?
If I
we
may.
can't add information.
If I may, just to add, if we could pick a reasonable time frame. I think in the letter it talked about having the information that they would provide it by, I think, July 10th, and I believe the next meeting is July 13th. And I just don't feel that 3 days, I don't know if those dates are correct, but 3 days just doesn't seem sufficient. And although it's not really of concern for the commission, I am going to be away for the next meeting, so I would like to be able to address those things before because I won't be able to present at the meeting itself. So I don't know if we could say at least, I would like to think within the next 2 weeks.
Right.
And if it comes after that, I don't know, because it's just having enough time, whatever it may be, professionally to receive the information, respond to it, properly revise plans if needed, and give a report in writing for the commission to review at the next meeting.
Okay.
Rather than 3 days doesn't seem sufficient.
And ask them that if they can submit their report like a week earlier,
Yeah, if we pick
or at least like 5-6 days earlier. And as soon as I will receive that, I will let you guys know.
I think professionally, I believe we're supposed to have information back to the commission a week before, so that with the agenda, I'd like to think they should have it, give us at least a week, so that we have a week to prepare it for you.
So if they don't come back to you in a reasonable time frame, you're not going to be able to come back to the next meeting and respond to these things.
I'm afraid we'll find ourselves in an awkward situation.
So we'd be extending this into August if that's the case.
And I believe,
so your initial ask for a waiver for the third-party review, it would get you to a draft motion next month.
That's correct.
Or the commission can hold a special meeting.
So it's not gonna stop it. If we continue with the third party, it doesn't arrive here in July, we can decide that. We close the public hearing and have the
The vote.
We can close it. We have a special meeting or wait till August.
So I believe the last extension we have available to us is another 35 days for the public hearing. I think that's the last one.
Yes, you can have another 30 days.
So I just want to make sure before the public
Right.
hearing closes that we've had enough time to get you a response to whatever comes up. So
Can I ask you a question? So let's say we don't get to respond on the third party, so what do? We got to delay it again? If we don't get results from the third party?
No, they promised that they will give it to us before the next meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't
If
hear
we
that.
don't receive it, the commission is ready to make a decision in the next meeting.
Right.
They close the public hearing and make a decision that night.
And again, just to be clear, I think the response said that they would have it by July 10th, which is 3 days
I
before the
will
meeting.
contact
Let's
my
see.
team,
That
yes.
doesn't seem
I will
professionally
contact them to
appropriate.
make sure that they
Okay,
give it
just-
to us.
Yeah, that's
You didn't
it.
already pay for the plane tickets, did you?
If you were doing the third-party review on this application, how many revisions would you have?
At this point, none. I mean, we've gone through
So I mean,
the town staff.
if somebody looks at it,
Sure.
right, so they should be able to,
I would hope.
if they're interested, right? We don't know that.
If they come back with major stuff and 3 days isn't enough, like, that's a
It's
whole
one
different
day.
conversation.
Not 3 days, it's 1 day.
June 10th.
July 10th, the meeting's the 11th.
Well, we're gonna have to deal with it then.
Today's the 13th.
Any other questions from town staff on this?
I mean, I'm personally satisfied with what they presented, Mr. Chairman.
Right.
They made good changes to the plan,
Right.
and they responded to all the comments from the commission members and staff.
So we'll have,
Can-
we'll vote, we'll continue the public hearing and have a draft motion ready for the July meeting.
Now, at that time, could you have some of the conditions be that
You're right.
anything that the third-party review
Fines.
finds gets corrected?
Yes.
Yes,
yes.
so it doesn't really.
So it doesn't really
It
matter.
doesn't matter, I mean, okay?
But that would mean that anything they find is gonna get fixed.
Right.
Everyone understands that, but.
Attorney Calisi, do you want to give an extension, another 30 days?
He doesn't want to, but.
Or you
Yes.
don't want to? Roseanne, do you have a sheet?
Is there anybody from the public wishing to speak on this application? Just this application? I need a motion to continue the public hearing.
Move that to continue public hearing on application 2024-7 of Newport Realty Group LLC.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any
Thank you
questions
very
on the
much.
motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, any abstention? Motion carries, thank you. B, application 2024-12 of Borghese Building and Engineering Company for the construction of industrial building, associated driveway, parking, on-site drainage system, 0 Seymour Road, Watertown.
This has a legal notice.
Get a legal notice then?
Yeah. Town of Watertown Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency legal notice. The Conservation Commission Inland Wetland Agency of the Town of Watertown will hold a public hearing at 6:30 PM on Thursday, June 13th, 2024, at Watertown Town Hall Council Chambers, 61 Echo Lake Road, Watertown, Connecticut, to hear and act upon the following application. Application 2024-12 of Borghese Building and Engineering Company Incorporated for construction of an industrial building and associated driveway, parking, and on-site drainage system at 0 Seymour Road, Watertown, Connecticut. At this hearing, interested persons may be heard and written communications received. A copy of the application is on file and at the Land Use Office at Watertown Town Hall, 61 Echo Lake Road, Watertown, Connecticut, for public review. Dated at Watertown, Connecticut, this 30th day of May, 2024. Dated at Watertown, Connecticut, this 6th day of June, 2024. Ned Dalton, Secretary, Conservation Commission in the Wetlands.
Rich Hall, Borghese Building and Engineering, 2155 East Main Street, Torrington. Here on behalf of the applicant, Foreign Plastics. Mark?
Mark Polinsky, President, Foreign Plastics.
So I'm not sure where you folks would like to begin. Would you like for me to present? Since the last meeting, we have filed the detailed site plan. Last time we met, we had a conceptual site plan that we went over. Since that time, we have completed a fully engineered site plan and responded to Paul Banovich's comments, his first round of comments have all been addressed, and his second round of comments, he only has one outstanding issue, which we could clearly make a condition of approval, as Paul's recommended as well. Or I don't want to speak for you, Paul, but that's basically what he said. So where would you gentlemen like to start? Do you want to go back through the site plan again?
Right, I guess we go back.
Mr. Chairman, I received this just today. If you want to go through these, what are the changes? And
Yeah, I would just go over the changes, and then we're going to go over what the issues we have on the site walk and what corrections you have to make.
Okay. So if we could get the site plan up, that would be great.
Okay, that's...
Let's go right to SP2. It's the larger version. And Paul, I would invite you to chime in if I'm missing anything that you had pointed out on the comments. So the changes basically are in the drainage. You see these stone filter strips here. Paul had requested that we put some under drains in those and pipe them, which we've done. We're showing an under drain now, and they will be piped to a stone riprap outflow into the detention basins, both along this side of the parking area. That's going to be the, I'm going to call it the southwest side, and then along the southeast side. Those were, that's really the major change here that we've made is just some tweaks to the drainage. Do you have anything to add there, Paul? No. Okay. So let me just refer to the comments here for a moment. As well, he mentioned a drainage swale. So this is a drainage swale that prevents drainage onto the solar property and directs it down into the detention basin as well. We've addressed some updates to the drainage calculations, which have also been submitted, Paul's reviewed and approved of. There was another issue that he pointed out as well. Along the back side of the building, one of the zoning regulations is that we can't have parking spaces within 6 feet of the building. So we've installed a 6-foot wide sidewalk along the back of the building to separate those parking spaces from the building. So that's basically the changes, right? So this site plan that you're looking at is very much like the conceptual site plan that we presented the first night. We have a large detention basin here to the southwest with a couple of outflows into it, and we have a smaller detention basin here to the southeast. All of them will discharge to the current wetland areas. The 100-foot, we actually have the 100-foot marked here, and I know you're looking for 150-foot upland review area. This is the area when we talked about what we're looking to do in the wetlands, and I'll refer to the application for a moment. So our detention basins were somewhere on the area of 1.5 acres. The encroachment into the upland review area with pavement here on this driveway area was about 8,700 square feet is what we calculated. So that remains, as I say, it's very much the plan that we provided the first night, only cleaned up with all our grades and drainage delineated here on the site plan. Any questions?
We noticed that you have to make some, so we got to go to a 150-foot setback.
We can certainly delineate or demarcate a 150-foot setback on there, and we will resubmit the site plan.
300 feet from the vernal pool.
So I'd like to, I think it's very important here to make a clarification. I misspoke when we were on the site walk. That area is not defined as a vernal pool. And I'd like to read right from the soils report for you. So wetland survey results. The wetland survey was completed May 8th and 9th, 2024. The wetland survey was performed under blue sky conditions. The on-site wetland delineation flagged the leading edge of the wetland boundary and examined the upper 20 inches of the soils profile for the presence of hydric soil conditions, delineated any wetland and water course boundaries located within the survey area. So that answers the question relative to, did we look at soils throughout the site? The answer is yes. We looked at the upper 20 inches of the soil stratum throughout the site to understand whether or not there were any other wetland soils present. Those areas meeting wetland criteria noted above were marked in the field with sequentially numbered pink and wetland delineation flagging labeled 1 through 55, 1A through 15A. Figure 1 wetland sketch illustrates this part of the report. It is just saying that it illustrates the wetlands. I'll read it verbatim. Figure 1 wetland sketch illustrates the approximate wetland locations and corresponding flag series. Please note this sketch is intended for navigation and high-level planning purposes only, and the wetland boundaries illustrated are subject to refinement and traditionally located, mapped by the a licensed land surveyor and formally adopted by the town. Now, I have just submitted the actual survey this evening. So you have 2 copies of the survey, which clearly delineates the wetlands. All the wetland flags are marked, and we'll return to that in just a minute. So the subject 24.9 industrial site is vacant and undeveloped. The site is accessed from the industrial park entrance located at the terminus of the Seymour Road. The interior of the site is approximately 13 plus or minus acres of contiguous uplands. The flagged jurisdiction wetland boundaries are found in the peripheral of the project site. 2 main wetland areas were flagged proximal to the interior land suitable for development. Wetland number 1 is a forest wetland complex that drains south along the west property line. That would be this wetland complex right here, okay? Wetland number 2 is a forest wetland complex. Nowhere he does not define it as a vernal pool. That was my mistake. Okay, it's a forest wetland complex that straddles the right-of-way easement boundary and was created from the right-of-way access road impounding surface water, creating a series of interconnected wetland pools. So that area is right up here. And you see it is at the edge of the 400-foot utility boundary. Let's see if I can do a better job of pointing at that. Right there. Okay, so that is not defined as a vernal pool. Lastly, a transmission electrical overhead right-of-way occupies the northwest corner of the site. Within the transmission right-of-way are several wetland pockets embedded in the shrub habitat and maintained wire zone. The right-of-way wetlands were field verified, and due to the utility easement restrictions from the overhead wires above, the right-of-way wetlands would not be within the zone of influence to any proposed development or site improvements. Those are if we go back to SP1 for a moment, please. So those wetland areas would be way up in this corner, and if you know, there's a little bit here and there's a little bit up there, and if you refer to the soils report from the soil scientist, he has mapped it and shown it in the soils report. So that's, I think, a pretty thorough definition of where we have wetland areas and the characterization of those. I would just add that in the soils report, if you refer to the illustrations in the back, he's got some great pictures characterizing the areas on the site, and he's got a picture of wetland area 2, right along the edge of the right-of-way for the high-tension wires, and here as well, it's a characterized example of wetlands to interconnecting forest pool complex. And it was created as a result of surface waters collecting, resulting from the excavation for the road for the right-of-way. So I believe should answer your questions around any wetlands questions. Do you have any more questions relative to the characterization?
Paul, so when we go to 150-foot setback, what's going to happen there with that retention pond and all that on the left?
Well, there's going to be, it's working now. There's going to be more area in the wetland, just the upland review area is just going to be increased. I don't see an effect on, drainage or runoff from the ponds.
Right.
And as we measured in the field, that wetland area we thought was the vernal pool is at least 150 feet from their limit of disturbance on the north, whatever
Right.
that north side is, so that's not an issue. But like I said, I have no problem with what he's revised in the plans and all his drainage comps, which I did see these online in his email, and I got him paper copies, so.
Right.
You know, I'm fine with everything to this point, based on the information that's on the plan. And we didn't see the whole site in this field walk,
Right.
we didn't have time to do that, so. But,
Where those wetlands are on the, I guess, the right side there.
Mhm.
Can you put that map back up, Mike?
Yeah, let's, we'll need SP1 for that. Yeah.
Right, so can that, are you gonna, is that gonna end up being open space to the town?
Well, let's go back up to SP1, please. Thank you. So are you talking about this area here?
Yes.
That's open space to nobody. That's a 400-foot, here's the boundary of the 400-foot wide right-of-way for the town.
Right, so I mean.
Or for the utility company,
I mean on this side of it.
on this side of it.
Right,
The answer would be, we don't know what the future for that is at the moment. We don't have any immediate intentions of expanding this. We have designed the site in a manner to preserve the ability to perhaps put some future expansion on it if necessary, in that this is wetlands. And this is 150, it's actually about 180 feet or 200 feet to the building. Of course, we'd have to come back before the board and talk to you guys about that if we decided we wanted to expand the building. But this building represents quite a lot of expansion for Forum right now. They're in 40,000 square feet, and it's going to take them a while to grow into this.
any other questions from the commission?
What can we do about this 2-to-1 slope? That's a 2-to-1?
Yeah, Paul has requested that we do, 2-to-1 slope is a stable slope. It's, certainly within, acceptable engineering practice. He's asked that because it's 2-to-1, that we put some slope stabilization mats or something on there until vegetation is well established, and we're more than willing to do that, and certainly you could put that in as a condition of approval.
And what's it going to be stable, other than fabric matting, stabilization matting, whatever? What do you plan on planting there? Grass or wetland plants? I would probably put, typically in wetland areas, like in detention basins, we'll use like a wildflower mix or something like that. If we wanted to do some creeping juniper or something there, which would, develop a root system that might be a little bit more advantageous to stabilizing the slope, we'd be happy to do that. That being said, as I said, a 2-to-1 slope is not, we do 2-to-1 slopes all the time. Right.
Yeah.
Well, there was mention of retaining wall there, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, the question is, what's the value of a retaining wall?
What's this map is so small, what's the height elevation there? The change?
Okay, so the elevation between, I believe, and I'm just speaking from memory right now because I don't have a site plan in front of me. I could borrow one here, but I don't need to.
18 feet?
Yeah, I think we're down around 830 or something down here, and we're at like 843 or 42 or something up here. It's about 12 feet. We looked at it in the field. It was about 12 feet, 12-foot rise.
It's 814 to...
Keep in mind, we have a detention basin on the other side of it. So in order to create that detention basin on the other side of it,
right,
we need to maintain that elevation.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the drive area was designed such that it got a reasonable slope to it. It's not going to create any hazards and whatnot, and it works from the point of view of the southeast detention.
And you're showing the driveway sloping inward.
That's correct.
Sheet flowing into the catch base, the retention pond area.
That's correct.
Okay.
that area is curved too.
Yes, the outside area is curved. only up to the filter strip here.
Right.
Right, so the curbs fade to, to the level of the parking lot, to the pavement, anywhere where you have the stone filter strip and under drain.
And where does we'll call it the inner one, where does that drain into, or is it just a
If you look right here,
stone?
If you look right here, we actually have in the center of the detention basin, there's also some stone filter strips and whatnot, and there is an outflow structure here, which controls the flow out of the detention basin, and it discharges under the driveway through a pipe to a stone riprap plunge pool.
I got that part. The opposite side of that. Where does
this one drain to?
The drainage that goes all around the inside, where you just were, the inside of the driveway.
Here?
And the parking lot.
Yes. Right. All the drainage that goes around there, the sheet flow comes into that drainage trench,
Okay, so let's just talk about flow here, right? So if you go up to the back corner of the building, right? That's basically where the grades are the highest on the site. And everything is generally flowing down.
No, I'm not asking about that. Okay. I understand all that.
Okay.
The sheet flow off of the driveway coming into the property.
Right here, this driveway.
Yep.
Yep.
So all along the drainage swale, it's not a swale, the drainage stone-filled trench.
Sheet flows into this pond.
Sheet flows and it just hits the stone and goes through it. There's no pipe.
There's no pipe there.
Okay.
Nope.
That's all my question was, I didn't see a pipe from that whole,
Yep.
I didn't see if it was like a curtain drain with a pipe in it. Where did that pipe go?
No. No.
And what about when it's outside, so where you get to the solar manufacturing property, sheet flows into that gravel, what gets it down to the retention pond?
That was addressed as part of Paul's comments, and quite honestly, it really,
it's not.
I agree with the change, certainly, and it's not important whether I agree with it or not, but I think it's a good, prudent measure. We have a under drain here, so when it sheet flows off of that lot, it's going to basically go into a stone trench now, and there's perforated pipe that prevents it. It will be collected here.
Where does the pipe go? That's my question.
That pipe goes, if you come off the end of that, let me find my pointer again.
That's what I wasn't finding.
Okay, so if you follow this stone trench down, you'll see that it discharges, the one on this side discharges into this detention basin, and the one on this side discharges into this detention basin.
I think their map is different than ours.
I don't see where that pipe is discharging. That was my question. I see your leader drains discharge into the basin.
You see right
really
here,
low.
There's a stone riprap, and there's a pipe coming right from that.
Okay, not on this print. It's not.
That's because you're looking.
No, it's flashlights.
Print. No, this was the one we were given.
We just got this today.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right.
The sheet in the packet said bring the print from last month.
Yeah.
You see? There you go.
All right. That clears that up. I want to ask that 10-minute question.
Any questions from the commission? Any questions from town staff?
Mr. Chairman, since there is no direct wetland impact, mostly it is the drainage issues and erosion and sediment control issues that Paul did a review.
Right.
Yes, I agree with him.
Yes, again, Mr. Chairman, I'm satisfied with the revisions that the applicant put on the plans stipulating to my last letter, and, well, my letter is actually two. So, yeah.
We just need the correct setbacks drawn on the maps.
Yes, we will submit again, and I believe there may have been one other update as a result of Paul's comments today. Yeah, we'll put a note in our sedimentation erosion control plan that we're going to do some slope stabilization. So we will do one more submission. I'll have it to you guys within a day or two.
I'll move that we close the public hearing on application 2024-12.
Just 1 second. You said that you will submit revised plans?
If you would like, yeah, I mean, there's the,
The setbacks.
with the
No,
set,
but if you close the public hearing,
You
then
can't bring it, okay.
Okay?
well, I think,
It doesn't make any difference because at the next meeting we can approve anyways. So you're not.
yeah, I can't wait till the next meeting. I'm going before planning and zoning next week.
We can't approve it
You
tonight
can't approve
anyways.
it tonight.
So we're.
Respectfully, I'd
I know, but
submit
you
that
can
I was
still go- you
told
can
that
still
you
go to-
could, I asked this question at the last meeting, and I was told specifically, I asked the question very specifically, I said, can we close the public hearing and make a motion to approve in the same night? And I was told yes. And the project is contingent upon that. It really is. Now, if we can certainly make it a condition of approval that I submit an updated map with the 150-foot setback and a note and the erosion, sedimentation and erosion control plan, I'm very willing to do that. I think staff would support me in the fact that we have been very responsive to every request made.
But Moose, it doesn't make, they're still got to go through zoning, correct?
yes.
And
So it's
zoning has scheduled I apologize, I didn't mean to interrupt. Zoning has scheduled a special meeting for the 18th. And they have indicated that they don't see any reason why they couldn't approve this on the 18th, provided we have our wetlands approval. The issue is that if we don't approve it on the 18th of June, you don't have a July planning and zoning meeting because the commission doesn't meet in July, and it'll push it out into August, and it'll be too late.
They all go on vacation.
We could hold a
We
special,
don't have a meeting in July.
we could hold a special meeting.
We'd have to, in order to meet their time frame, we'd have to hold it next week after we
Right.
get the.
Yeah, you have to do it before the
revised
18th, because
maps.
that's when
We could do
the,
the same thing by approving this and on condition of the 150-foot setback and Paul Barnabas's conditions on it.
yeah, and we're more than happy to do that. I'll have those down here in less than, today's Thursday. I'll have them here Monday.
Mr. Chairman, adding that 150 setback line doesn't make any changes to the
Right.
drainage calculations because they're not adding more impervious surface.
Right.
The building size and the parking lot is the same. It is just there will be another line on the map.
That's all it is, but it's still a standardization because it
Yes.
reflects our.
No, but
Right,
you
but
can,
we don't-
you
we
can
don't-
put as a condition that they should change the maps and put that line there, that the
Right.
Planning and Zoning Commission see those.
I just don't like changing from what we standardly do. So you're gonna make a motion to close the public hearing and approve, right, at the next?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Right, that's the next.
Make a motion to close public hearing on
2024.
But if we close the
2024.
public hearing, we can't take any new information in, even a revised map.
No,
We can't take
No, that's a
any-
condition.
that can be a condition of
Condition.
approval.
Permit.
Right.
You can't accept it, but again, the permit will say they have to run out.
2024-12.
To make a motion, we close public hearing on 2024-12 of Borghese Building for 0 Seymour Road.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any question on the motion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. A, regular meeting. 5, public, you guys are all set.
All right, well, will we
No,
return?
that's,
Please,
you're-
please wait there.
you gotta
Okay,
wait.
okay, thank you.
For a regular meeting. 5, public participation. Is there anybody here from the public wishing to speak on anything? Nobody from the public? Thank you. 6, action on the minutes. Regular meeting, May 9th, 2024. Did everybody receive the minutes?
Yes,
Yes.
Any correction, errors, or omissions?
none that I saw. I make a motion to approve the minutes from May 9th, 2024.
Motion made in second. Any questions on the motion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, any abstention? Motion carries. 7, pending application. A, application 2024-7 of Newport Realty Group LLC for the construction of Turnberry Estates, a 34-unit active adult community on 24.6 acres parcel to be located off Pondview Drive. No motion when we canceled or closed the public hearing. Did we make a motion to draft a motion?
You didn't close the public
we
hearing.
didn't.
Yes, you just table it. now.
Okay, so table.
Just-
Right.
Motion to table application 2024-7.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions on the motion or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. A, application 2024-11 of CNS Masonry and Paving for construction of 10,000 square foot and a 2,500 square foot industrial building, associated parking and driveway and stormwater controls, 1490 Echo Lake Road, Watertown.
Good evening. For the record, Brian Baker from Civil One, licensed engineer in the state of Connecticut. We were tasked with doing the survey work and preparing the site plans. Emily Jones from my office gave you a brief overview at the last meeting, and we had our site visit earlier tonight. If we could pull up the plans, and I'll go over the overall design again. No, it's Echo Lake Road, 1490. There we go. So this is the cover sheet. If we could go down to sheet, keep going.
Mr.
Okay,
Chairman, I have these maps here. Do you want to look at the monitor or do you want to look at these maps?
I'll take that.
Are they different than the ones we got last month?
Yeah.
No, these are just, we received it today.
Okay, so they are.
They are different.
The design didn't change. What happened is this set that was submitted originally, there were a couple of layers off, and so there was a printing error, so some of the silt fence wasn't shown, but the design is the same as was originally submitted. And there are reduced size copies too that were submitted if you want a smaller one. So this is the existing conditions map of the property at 1490 Echo Lake Road. You see the property line outlined in green. We have the wetlands on site flagged and located. Guess the screen doesn't like a red pointer, huh?
I have a green one.
Doesn't like that either. Oh, that's pretty good. I don't know, Musa, you're not getting that back.
Make sure you give it back to me, okay? This will make sure kind of.
Yeah, so the wetlands are here shown in the orange hatching. Wetlands are flagged and located. The site generally drains from southwest to northeast through this wetlands area, and then off-site there's an existing driveway, gravel driveway that comes up to serve the existing residents and garage that are on the property. Currently there's a 30-inch corrugated metal pipe under the driveway. And we would generally be using that same location for access to the site for development. And we can go to the grading and drainage plan, please. Next one. Okay, so this is sheet C 3.1 of your plan set, the grading and drainage plan. You can see the proposed driveway coming into the site, generally in the same location as the existing. It's shifted slightly to the west from the existing driveway because the existing driveway is actually off the property in a paper street, an old town right-of-way. So we shifted that slightly, but then it lines up with the existing driveway at the crossing area. That old 30-inch corrugated metal pipe is in disrepair, and we're going to replace that with a larger 36-inch reinforced concrete pipe. New pipe is actually about 50 feet shorter than the old pipe, so you'll gain a little more open water course on either side of the driveway by replacing that culvert. All our utilities will come up the driveway to serve There are 2 proposed buildings. This will be the headquarters for CNS paving. This would be their paving yard where they'll store their equipment, have vehicles and office space in here. As you come to the driveway and bear to the left, there's a small masonry supply store proposed. These are both down at a lower level, and then the driveway would continue to climb up to an upper level pad, which will be an area for processing of recycled asphalt on site. For drainage on the site, we're capturing all the drainage from the impervious surface into 2 different underground detention infiltration areas shown here. We have over 300 Cultec 920 HD units. Those are 4-foot tall, heavy-duty units. This bed here, the eastern bed, handles all of the drainage from the masonry pad area. There is a hydrodynamic separator. It's for oil and grit removal prior to entry into the underground infiltration area, and then overflows from that are piped into a small renovation basin here northwest of the contractor yard building. The drainage from the upper gravel recycling pad is going to come down, as well as the drainage from this area will all come into this larger bed, again through an oil grit separator first, then into the underground infiltration system, detention system, and then through an outlet structure into the finishing basin. So basically with this design, we've managed to treat all of the water quality volume on the site as required by DEP. We also provide decreases in all design storms through a 100-year storm with these large detention units. So we're protective of the wetlands from a flow perspective, from a water treatment perspective, and we have received a memo from Paul, an initial review memo. I don't see any showstoppers in there. We haven't provided revised plans yet. We wanted to have this meeting and have the site walk to see if there were any additional requests from the commission, but we will certainly respond to Paul's memo and get updated plans into you, with taking into account his comments. There is going to be, as we saw on the site, there'll be cutting on the uphill side of the site and excavation to flatten these pads out and filling on the lower side. It does require a net removal of about 38,000 yards of material, to get these pad sites created. So they will be, but CNS Masonry themselves, they can do the work. They'll process the material, remove it, and create these pads. We have a construction sequence in the plan set. This site is, the disturbance is over 5 acres, so it will require a DEP construction general permit. Additionally, since it is an industrial use, it will require a DEP stormwater industrial permit, which is a little different. The construction general permit is just basically in effect while you're doing your construction, and then once your site is stabilized and done, that permit's closed out. The industrial general permit follows the land as long as its use remains, and that will require ongoing stormwater monitoring, be submitted to DEP, for quarterly. They basically take samples at the stormwater outfalls, sample them, test them for any sort of chemicals, and then submit that material into DEP. So the DEP will be involved in this as long as it remains in industrial use. And obviously we walked the site and we tried to point out sort of the highlights of where we were parked up in here in this parking area adjacent to the garage. So we kind of set up in here. We walked over and we saw the building, saw some of the corners of the masonry building, and the driveway coming up. This line, so basically we reviewed everything, and we also looked at the toe of slope here. So we reviewed all the activity within the 150-foot regulated area, which is this red line in here that comes through the site. So there's no direct wetlands impact, other than we're removing a pipe and replacing it with a shorter pipe. But we do have activity within the 100-foot regulated area.
150.
Or excuse me, the 150-foot regulated area. And a lot of that is, in this area, is associated with the area that was previously disturbed for the construction of the residence in that open grass area. And we certainly be happy to answer any questions you have or comments from the walk.
Any questions from the commission?
Yeah, those hydrodynamic separators you're talking about, are they in place to screen out grit and materials, or are they for hydrocarbons?
Both. So it's an oil grit separator, so they're designed to remove 80% of total suspended solids, as well as any floatables on the surface. And also, in each of your catch basins on this project, every catch basin will have a hooded outlet for any hydrocarbons. So we have the catch, you basically have, a multiple prong approach. You have a catch basin with a sump and a hooded outlet. You have these hydrodynamic separators, which are designed to remove over 80% total suspended solids and hydrocarbons. Then you have the underground infiltration beds that will soak the water quality volume back into the ground and then detain for your bigger storms. And then any overflow from those goes to a vegetated stormwater basin and grass basin that's northwest of the western building.
Okay, is there a maintenance plan in
Yeah,
place for those?
It's in the last page of the plans have the stormwater maintenance program. So with those oil grit separators, what you typically do is initially, after everything's done and you're installed, you monitor them every 6 months, and then you find out how much sediment you're getting built up. If it's like 3 or 4 inches of sediment, then you continue at a 6-month rate. If you're checking them every 6 months and then you're finding you're not getting much buildup, you go to an annual, but it never goes more than an annual basis, the maintenance.
Was there any testing done here? This was an auto salvage yard for over 50 years. I can't believe there's been no testing done. I thought this was on like a Superfund site, that whole area of Moosa, correct?
Across the street definitely is. But
across the street is.
Yes.
Yeah, we have already, since our walk, reached out to the seller, who had made some prior representations about some reports that they have, so we'll get those. And
right, but just saying you're going to start moving this material off site. I don't know, you said 38,000 yards?
Correct.
I think there should be substantial testing done there, what that site was.
yeah, I just said we're going to ask for that from the seller who made some representations about that. So we don't have anything right now with us.
Right, but
so.
I mean, I think that's got to be brought before us to decide how this will be handled. I mean, you're going to be disturbing and moving material there's no question it's contaminated.
Again, we're inquiring about what is available.
And that's hooked into the sanitary sewer, correct?
I'm sorry?
It's hooked into the sewers?
Yes,
we have I didn't see any pipe for the sewers.
Public water and sanitary sewer. Sanitary sewer is this green line that runs out the driveway. The blue line is the water. So yeah, there is sanitary sewer that we're going to connect into.
And I don't know about approving an asphalt recycling yard. Was that in the permit from the beginning? I don't know if we have that jurisdiction.
That's it's a zoning use. That's in the regulations.
Right, but that area has to be paved and drained and monitored, not gravel. You're not going to be dumping asphalt and oil going into the ground.
The upper.
Yes. If you're going to be recycling asphalt, the asphalt's full of oil. It's going to leach into the ground. So that has to be either concrete or paved.
Does the state limit the amount of material in the recycling aspect of it under the industrial stormwater permit?
No, there's not a limit as far as amount of production. It is basically they'll look at the design of your system, and then we'll identify for them stormwater outfall locations, so where the drainage, which basically for this site is the small final renovation basin is where our outlet flows are. So those would be identified, and those are where it would have to be monitored after a rainfall event.
Yeah, jurisdictionally, that's what the DEP is going to look at, so.
And Musa, this is in the Naugatuck watershed. Does they have any interest here?
Naugatuck River?
Because I know there's a big coalition and.
No, I don't think so. But PNC Mason, is this, how far it is from the other municipality?
From Waterbury?
It's not
Across
within
Route 8
500
is still
feet, is it?
Watertown.
No.
What's that?
It's not within 500
No.
feet,
No.
yes, yeah, because
I don't think it's 500 feet, it's more than that.
it's more than that.
What, to the Waterbury line?
Yeah.
It's still,
No, but
when
water,
you're saying
the
it's
Naugatuck,
the watershed,
the Naugatuck
River.
water goes through Watertown.
No,
That's Watertown property.
I mean, that's something that DEP will be involved.
No,
When you
DEP's
submit your
involved.
application to DEP, they will look at that issues.
Right.
You're just looking on the local impact on the wetlands.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, as part of the DEP form, you have to fill out, you know, what your major watershed, your sub-watersheds, all that data is in, and they actually require latitude and longitude for all of your stormwater outlets, so they know exactly where
Right, so they
everything
said that
sits.
under the recycling, that'll be an impervious area that's connected to the drainage.
Correct.
Any other questions on this?
How about moving the workshop over to the masonry supply side?
And get away from the wetland.
Get away from the wetlands, especially if there's gonna be asphalt there.
I don't think there's going to be any
Asphalt
impact.
trucks, paving equipment.
If you look at the size of the pad that they need for the paving business,
Yeah.
that would not fit over on this side without having a major impact on the area that they need for their recycling plan.
Yeah, but respectfully, if they're
Right.
willing to move 38,000 yards of fill,
They can move the building.
they can move the building.
There's no direct impacts, and we don't think it's going to impact the wetlands.
And
So-
over there, the equipment that's gonna be parked there, there's nothing with oil on them. They are asphalt equipment, but they're all cleaned up when they come back.
No, you can't, you gotta speak into the microphone, sir. You can't speak from the back row.
The equipment that's gonna be parked
You
there,
gotta say your name and address. and-
oh, Calvin Sincoli, owner of CNS Masonry and Paving, co-owner,
Address?
550 Woodbury Road, Watertown, Connecticut.
So you're saying the pavement equipment won't have oil on it?
No,
I thought the
No.
asphalt was like 20% oil, no?
but there is no asphalt being back to the yard. It's just clean equipment, it's no more than parking a car in a parking lot. We're not bringing any material back to that area.
Well, to the top yard.
The
no?
workshop area.
Yeah,
Okay.
So that's gonna
But not
be-
to the millings yard.
Yeah, not the
millings
millings
and
yard. You're gonna be
recycling yard.
dumping in,
yeah, rip out asphalt.
I don't know what the requirements
So-
are for that. I don't,
Some,
all right.
Yeah, it's kind of, sorry.
All right.
Just like next door.
Right, I think we already have a huge issue there. I think Musa, some type of monitoring's gotta be put here. We know what's there. I don't understand how we can overlook what that property is used for.
I think DEP should monitor that.
Right.
Yes.
As long as they're be notified in the beginning.
So the applicant, when they submit their
Right.
application to
Yeah.
DEP, they will look into these
Right.
issues. These are not like for us to look.
So for this DEP industrial permit you're calling, is that a step up from the 10-acre one we were talking about in the prior?
It's actually
Two.
totally different animal.
More advanced?
Yeah, because the construction general permit for anything over 5 acres, it's for anything over 5 acres that you're disturbing. If it's a solar farm, a wind turbine farm, a residential use, a commercial use, so that all falls under the same thing. And they're basically looking at mostly the erosion and sediment control plan, and then they also look at the stormwater management plan as part of that permit. Mostly they're worried about during construction And that's why that permit gets closed out after you're done. The stormwater industrial permit is a long-term monitoring of the site. It's required for any use that has an SIC code. So whether it's a, gas station, contractor's yard, and, a marina, that they have a list of every use that has an SIC code, and, a bus depot, and those require stormwater industrial permits that stay with the property. They have a whole lot of, another caveat of, like you have to have a housekeeping book on site about any materials you have on site, material safety data sheets on those. DEP can come in at any time and say, let me see your logbook. So there's a whole other list of criteria. So those are uses that they take a closer and a long-term look at.
Okay, thank you.
So next month's meeting, you'll have something from DEP, what this site is listed at, correct? Is that what you're working on? With the owner, you said?
We're speaking to the owner for the information that they have. So I have no idea what they have. So I've got to wait and see what they have. Okay. So yes, we're trying to answer your question.
All right, so we'll wait.
Can't answer it tonight.
All right, not tonight, yeah.
So if the soil on this site is contaminated, like how does that, it can't just be removing contaminated soil, right? It'd have to go through.
Jurisdictionally, that's something the DEP
It's
and
DEP
the
will
owner would have to
monitor
worry
that,
about,
yes.
Right.
The wetlands doesn't care about contaminated
No.
soil?
We have no jurisdiction over that.
It's not within a review area.
Yes.
It goes in the wetlands?
It's not within a review area.
I don't know.
Well, let's wait for the next one.
Mr. Chairman, do you want to determine that if this is a significant activity or
Yeah,
maybe.
All right.
there is no public hearing needed for this? They are not proposing anything in the wetlands?
It has nothing to do with the amount of material that's being moved.
No, that has nothing to do with this.
I don't think.
Are you bringing fill from outside to this site?
No.
Okay.
No, we need
It
No,
will
it's-
basically cut and fill on the same site.
and then remove 38,000 yards.
Right, the majority of the removal
They're doing a
come,
lot of filling in,
right, the removal
Yes,
of
of the
the,
dry-
they're doing a lot of filling
Yes.
in the upland review area.
Right.
That's all. So if we're filling the upland review area with contaminated soil, even though it's not moving the site, I think Luigi's right, that we have some
Yeah,
question here
right.
of
Yeah, I do
Of
too,
what-
I do too.
what's
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
right?
If we're gonna film,
How that can't be.
right,
Right.
In the upland review.
right.
Or we should, even though probably it's all right to move it on the same site, but it's still a concern.
Do you test the soil before you fill that area? I mean,
we will, as Jim mentioned, we're gonna look back to the previous seller and see what testing or data is available, and then make a decision from there. Obviously, we're gonna meet all the necessary requirements, whether it's through you or through DEP. If there's, for sites that are contaminated, that DEP has jurisdiction over, there is a licensed environmental professional that tells you how to handle what materials. Whether a lot of materials can simply be capped over under pavement. Some do have to come off site, but I think we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit with that, because we don't.
Right, you are moving the material into the upland review area, so there is an impact there.
Well, that's your determination.
Right, well, it is, so.
Yes.
Right.
If it's,
Motion to determine if application 2024-11 is a significant activity in the upland review.
You making that motion?
Yes.
All right, you need a second.
Second?
Huh?
you're saying it's a significant activity?
Yeah, motion.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Second, yeah.
And motion made and second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
if that is the case, then you hold a public hearing next month.
Right.
Yes.
Just make a motion for the date on that, right? That'll be July 11th.
That was the 13th.
11th. Make a motion.
Motion to schedule public hearing for application 2024-11 for July 11th.
Second.
Motion made, second it. Any discussion or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
So do you guys have a plan to get the soil sampled?
No, we have a plan to ask the current owner for the information that they have. And
Okay.
as soon as we get it, we will decide what our plan is.
And
We have no more information than you at this time.
Uh-huh.
So you guys have done all this work without asking that question?
We have asked that question. Now we're looking for some additional backup from the answers that we received.
Okay.
So yes, thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Table this?
We got a table. Motion to table, application 2024-11, CNS Masonry and Paving, 1490 Echo Lake Road.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions on the motion or
They
discussion?
need to provide feasible and prudent alternatives to what they're correct.
Musa?
I'm sorry?
They need to provide feasible and prudent alternatives with this, correct? With the significant activity?
It's only if there is direct wetland impact in the wetlands.
All right, the motion made and seconded, correct? The table. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. C, application 2024-12, Borghese Building and Engineering Incorporated for the construction of an industrial building, associated driveway, parking and on-site drainage, 0 Seymour Road, water.
I think you are done.
You're done?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you are done. Yes.
Not gonna be through it again.
You must be happy, no?
I'll be very happy.
They'll give you a break somewhere. All right, where are we?
Mr. Chairman, if you're ready to make a decision on this, it should be subject to those recommendations from the town engineer for that 2-to-1 slope. And also, they revised their plans to show the 150-foot setback for the wetlands.
Right.
Somebody want to make that a motion?
And also standard conditions. If that's your decision, yes. If you want to decide, and then it should be subject to standard conditions and those 2 conditions.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve application 24-12 of Borghese Building Engineering, subject to the addition of a 150-foot setback line drawn on the map and a response to the town engineer's comments about the 2-to-1 slope.
And subject to standard conditions.
Standard conditions.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any questions or discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Now you are done.
Thank you.
A new application, application 2024. Application 2024-15 of Tupon Enterprises for the construction of single-family home driveway, on-site septic and drainage system with an upland review area, Lot 8, Wolf Hill Road, Watertown.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see you all again.
Mike?
Stranger, huh? I'm just here to update a site plan that was previously approved. I don't remember when the initial wetland circumstance was approved, but it was again updated in the late 2010, somewhere 2017, 18. So we're proposing to build a house on Lot 8, Wolf Hill Road, basically following the exact same scenario that was previously approved, not making any changes. The only reason I'm here is because you've updated your review area. I presented the plan to Paul and Musa, and I'm respectfully requesting that we could expedite this with an administrative review to make sure everything is in compliance. As far as the site goes, the site drains from south to north. There is an intermittent water course on either side of the site from drainage of upland property. It only flows during late winter and spring for the most part. And the nearest wetland to the north is in excess of 290 feet from any proposed activity, which is basically where the septic system is. The house is an additional 100 feet from that, so it would be over 300 feet from there. Very simple request, just to update a site plan that, like I say, we didn't make any changes to from the original site plan.
Mr. Chairman, in addition to the plot plan that Mr. Two-Pound submitted, I also give you a copy of the subdivision that shows the location of the house. When you approve the subdivision, this is how it was. And basically, they look the same.
So there's no wetlands or inlet, nothing here? No upland review or anything, Musa? No.
Oh, just from the water courses, right?
There is upland review area.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in the upland review area, but we're not disturbing, there's zero disturbance to the wetland. And the wetland that is down gradient from any constructing activities is in excess of 200 feet from the septic area and 300 plus feet from the house constructed area. So it's quite a ways down the slope.
And also, you know that there is a conservation easement?
Yeah, there's a conservation area in there.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was out there today, and that area hasn't been disturbed. I specifically didn't look for any of the signature signings, but we can certainly put those in, but I'm sure they're
So we can take
well
a look at
within
this,
that.
right? Yeah.
It's up to you.
Right, these are not, we have time on this, right? It's August, right?
But this was already approved before.
This was approved before, that's why I'm
The old setback.
requestfully asking that we expedite this process.
Right.
I would rather get all the construction done in the dry season as opposed to the fall and winter. This is just a simple update of the same site plan that's already been accepted as feasible, prudent alternative. There's no change to it. Commission's already determined that it was a good location to start with, and we're not changing anything, just updating the site plan per your new review area.
We'll just take a walk before the next meeting, right? In July, right?
What's that?
No, you can, if you want.
Right. Because the time is all the way to August, right? So it's not a time restraint on us.
That will be in July.
Right, July.
Yes.
July 11th. So we'll take a site walk July 11th before our next meeting. Paul, you don't have any questions on this or anything?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Is this staked out or no? Anything staked out?
Yeah, the house is staked out, septic area is staked out. But my question is, if the commission has already determined that this is the best feasible and prudent alternative, and we're not making any changes, why are we going to delay the process of moving this along?
I've never seen this before. It was long before I got on. I've been on 8 years, so I don't know when this was. I've never been to Wolf Hill. So I don't know who was on this commission then to approve this. I don't think anybody. Maybe Joe Plata.
I was.
Okay. But I haven't. I'm not familiar with it at all. I don't know why it would hurt to take a look.
I think I was. Can we act on it tonight?
No,
not tonight. We can't act on it anyway.
You can't, but you can certainly
authorize me to.
You can offer Musa the opportunity to approve the permit within 14 days if no public opinion comes in. I mean, we all know the procedure. We're 200 plus feet, 300 feet from the downstream wetland area, which is have zero impact. We're following the same procedures for sediment control, erosion control that was previously approved. I don't see any reason why this, without making a change to the site plan, should be delayed. This should be an administrative approval in 14 days based upon the updated site plan, which matches the existing site plan that was previously approved by both the Wetland Commission and the Planning and Zoning Commission of the town of Watertown.
I think
if there's any conditions that come up between town engineer, Mr. Paul Benevich, or Mr. Raffi, they will be addressed to 100% of their satisfaction, and we move forward. There really isn't any reason to delay these types of projects, especially when no change is being made to the originally approved site plan.
Up to the rest of the commission, how they feel.
You're just saying, you're just updating it because we went to the 150-foot.
That's it. No changes. We're following.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. When was this original proposed plot?
The wetland reapproval was in the late 2010, 17, 18 per engineer Ron Wolf, I think. We can look up the records, but.
I feel the same way. If nothing was changed, I think that we should prove it the way it is.
The wetland permit for the subdivision is expired. That's why.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, I'm kind of agree with the applicant because there is not significant changes to the plan. The Wetland Commission and also the Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed the subdivision. They approved this location for a single-family home. And this is still a single-family home with a septic system. And I'm sure that the Torrington Area Health District already looked at that.
I submitted the application to
if the commission wants to let me decide on this after 14 days, it's up to you. But if you want to go and see the site, totally it's up to you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve application 2024.
You cannot approve it tonight.
Huh?
We can't approve it.
We can't approve it.
Why not? Oh, because the first,
Yeah.
okay.
We can, right.
Okay.
You can authorize me to issue the permit
Okay.
after 14 days.
That's right, okay. I'll do that, I'll change that. I try to Musa to work with the developer and application 2024-15 of 2 Ponds Enterprise.
Motion made and second. Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
I
9,
appreciate
old business.
your time. Thank you.
The application 2024-16 for the transfer permit 2024-8 from Meadowcrest LLC to Robert Chiglio, issued for the construction of a single-family home, lot 46, Meadowcrest Lane. Caliole, sorry.
Hello, everybody. Pierre Moran. I'm here to transfer the permit, or as it says here, to transfer the permit number 2024-8 to a fellow named Robert Cielo, who's going to build a house on the property.
Is he purchasing the property?
He did.
Okay.
On this one, you don't have to wait. You can make a motion to approve it.
This is just a transfer.
On this one, you don't have to wait another month. You can make a decision tonight.
We did approve this last month.
Last
right?
month, yeah.
All right, I make a motion to approve application, the transfer of the permit 2024-8 from Meadowcrest LLC to Robert Caliolo. Caliolo.
Caliolo, you did it good.
Motion seconded? Motion made and second. Any questions or discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Thank you.
9, old business, none, new business. A, executive session, pending litigation, Linda Zarillo versus Conservation Commission Inland Wetlands Agency, Town of Watertown.
Mike, okay, just 1 second.
Mike.
Do you want to stay here or you want to go to the next room? If you stay here, people cannot stay there, they have to leave. But if you want to go to the next room, then we can.
Let's go to the next room.
All you need to do is just make a motion to go into executive session and mention the time. What time is it?
I'll make a motion to go into an executive session at 8:05 p.m.
Okay. Second.
Please